Hi, my name is Sarvesh and you are watching D365 Notes. Today we are covering an interesting topic of expense management in D365, which is travel requisitions. So, what is travel requisition? Let's see. And how it works, how it configured, and how it processed. We will cover in this video. So stay tuned for that. Now, let's start. As per Microsoft, a travel requisition lists the expense incurred for the purpose of travel. A travel requisition is submitted for review and can be used to authorize expenses. Means travel requisition will be if you see that from the name itself it is specifying that this is some kind of a travel related expense incurred by an employee for an organization. So that is the travel requisition part. Now let's cover about the setup part. On the configuration side, first we have to go to expense management parameters. So for that you have to go to expense management, setup, general and expense management parameters. On the general tab you will see this button, pre-authorization of travel is mandatory. Means it will mandatoриze travel requisition authorization, means approve only approved travel requisition will be processed in the system. Here you can see travel requisition can be configured as mandatory by enabling pre-authorization of travel is mandatory parameter. Means if you enable this parameter, it will be mandatory for your expense and travel requisition to be authorized. Okay, that is the thing. Now after that you have to go to, since parameter part is completed, you have to configure your expense management workflow. For expense management workflow you have to go to expense management, general and expense management workflows. Here I have already configured this one and it can be used in multiple legal entities. Okay, so I will not open and show. It is a basic workflow where one user will submit and one user will approve and then workflow ends. Okay, now after that we have to configure expense categories. So as you are also aware that first we have to create a shared category. So here I have already flight available. Okay, so this is my category flight. Okay, I will be using for travel requisition. Now it is a shared category, we have to create as expense category as well. So for creating expense category you have to go to setup, expense management, setup, general and expense categories. Now here you will see flight. So these are the setup part of the expense management travel requisition. Now once these categories are configured, we can start the process. So on the process side you can see I have opened second tab. Here you will see go to expense management and under my expense you have to open travel requisition. So open that. Now here you can see all your travel requisitions available. Now I will click on new button. Here I will mention the purpose. So for example I'm going for training. So similarly I will mention the description as well. If you have any destination you can map it, but I'm not using that, and click OK. Here select your expense category, so I will select flight. Here you have to map your estimated date for each expected expense such as flight, meal or rental, create an expense line item, include estimated date, estimated amount. So this date will be your estimated date in which you will be on which you will be traveling or incurring these expenses. So simply I will give this one, and amount, let's take 1000. Okay, now save. So once you save, it will enable the workflow. Similarly, if you have any meal expense or any other expense, if you want to add, you can add. Okay, I will not add for the time being. I will submit the workflow. So now workflow is submitted. Let's wait for some time. Once it is approved, the status will change to approved. And before that, you will see a reconciliation status as open. So it is not yet reconciled. Okay. So let's jump after workflow is approved. Now workflow is completed and the status for requisition is approved, and our purpose is training. Now what we will do, we will create an expense report for this travel requisition and map this travel requisition to that expense report. So for creating expense report, you can watch my previous videos also. So here you have to go to expense management, my expense and expense report. Click on new button. System will open this window. Here select your purpose. Now you will see map to travel requisition. So whatever approved travel requisition will only be available. Okay, if it is uh, reconciled, then it will not be. Reconciliation status is if it is closed, then it will not be available. So once I select this, it will be mapped and you will see this travel requisition amount. Click OK. So my expense report has been created. Here I can give my expenses. So let me take flight, and here you will see my amount. Okay, now save it. After that we have to give the transaction amount, so I will give 1000 only. Now save it and submit for approval. So you will see it is mandatory to select this reconciled amount, otherwise the status will not update in travel requisition form. So once you select here, you will see authorized amount. Now your travel requisition amount and this amount should be same most of the time. Okay, until and unless you have a different scenario where you are covering some different scenarios that is required to change. So we will not cover, we will cover the simple scenario for the time being. Now submit the workflow. Let's jump to the part where travel requisition is approved. Now it is approved, we can post this expense report. For posting expense report, you have to go to expense management and process expense reports. Here all expenses. You will see this recent approved expense. So I will post this. Now it is posted and processed for the payment. So once the expense report is posted, our reconciliation status will be closed from open, which I have showcased earlier also. So this is the completion of process on travel requisition side, and apart from this, the expense management process will remain same. So this is travel requisition part. So that's it for today. I will see you in the next one. If you have any doubt or query, please let me know in the comments.